Will Smith has been a familiar face for more than 3 decades. Many people first saw him as the fun, confident guy on television, then later as a movie star who seemed to succeed at everything he tried. For years, he was known for his energy, his work ethic, and his ability to stay positive in public. But at 57, life doesn't look as simple as it once did. Getting older in the public eye brings its own challenges. Careers change, public opinion shifts, and personal life becomes harder to keep private. In the last few years, Will Smith has had to deal with criticism, personal stress, and the reality that things don't always stay the same forever. He still works and stays active, but the path forward has required patience and adjustment. This video looks at where he is now. His health, his personal life, and the pressure that comes with being famous for so long. If you've followed his journey for years and still support him, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps the video reach more people who grew up watching him and want to know how he's doing now. Before talking about his current life, it's important to understand how much he achieved over the years. Will Smith didn't just become famous overnight. He built his career step by step, starting in music and then moving into television and film. His early success came from being relatable and energetic. He made people laugh, and he made them feel like they knew him. When he starred in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, his personality stood out. He played a version of himself that felt natural and easy to connect with. That role helped him transition into movies, where he quickly became one of the most recognizable actors in Hollywood. Over time, he starred in major films that brought in large audiences. He wasn't just acting, he was carrying big projects that depended on his name. For many years, his career looked steady. He stayed busy with movies, public appearances, and interviews. He was often described as hardworking and focused. Directors and producers saw him as reliable. Fans saw him as someone who kept delivering entertainment they could enjoy. But even during those successful years, there was pressure. Staying at the top of the industry isn't easy. There is constant competition, changing trends, and the expectation that every new project will succeed. Maintaining that level of performance for decades can be exhausting. Over time, the pressure to keep proving himself didn't disappear. It followed him into every new role. As he reached his 40s and 50s, the industry began to change. New actors appeared, new styles of movies became popular, and audiences shifted their attention. While he still worked consistently, the environment wasn't exactly the same as it had been earlier in his career. He had to adjust to a different pace and different expectations. Then came the last few years, which brought public attention that affected how people saw him. Some projects were delayed or reconsidered. Public discussions about him became more complicated. Instead of focusing only on his work, people began talking about his personal life and public behavior. At 57, he is still a known figure, but his career is in a different phase. He isn't the same young actor trying to prove himself. He's someone with a long history in the industry, trying to maintain stability while dealing with change. He still takes on projects and appears in public, but the approach feels more careful now. This stage of life often requires reflection. After decades of constant work, many people start thinking about what matters most. For him, that seems to include continuing to work, but also focusing more on personal balance. He doesn't appear to be chasing every opportunity the way he once did. Instead, he seems to be choosing projects that make sense for where he is now. The shift from constant momentum to a more measured pace can feel strange. For someone who spent years at the center of attention, adjusting to a quieter or more uncertain period isn't easy. But it's part of the reality many longtime public figures face as they get older and move into a new stage of their lives. Being famous means living with constant attention. For Will Smith, this has been true for most of his adult life. Every interview, every public appearance, and every personal moment has been watched by millions of people. For years, he managed that attention by presenting himself as positive and confident. But in recent years, public scrutiny has become harder to manage. When personal moments become public conversations, it can feel overwhelming. Social media makes everything immediate. Opinions spread quickly, and once something becomes a major topic, it doesn't disappear easily. For someone in his position, stepping away completely isn't realistic. He still works in entertainment, which means staying visible. Criticism can affect anyone. Even people who seem confident can feel the weight of constant public judgment. Over time, it can change how someone approaches their work and public life. Instead of feeling relaxed in interviews or appearances, there may be more caution. Every word gets analyzed, and every action gets discussed. At 57, managing that level of attention requires patience. He has spoken in the past about personal growth and trying to stay grounded. That often involves focusing on family, health, and personal stability rather than reacting to every public comment. It's a way of protecting mental well-being while still continuing to work. There is also the challenge of rebuilding trust with audiences. Public perception can change quickly, and rebuilding it takes time. Some fans remain supportive, while others feel differently. Over time, consistency and steady work can help rebuild confidence, but it doesn't happen overnight. Living under constant attention also affects daily life. Simple activities can become public events. Even when trying to keep things private, there is always the possibility that someone is watching or recording. That can make it harder to relax or feel normal in everyday situations. Despite all of this, he continues to show up. He attends events, works on new projects, and interacts with fans. That willingness to keep going suggests he wants to maintain a connection with his audience and continue his career. But it's clear that the environment around him is different now than it was earlier in his life. This stage requires a different mindset. Instead of focusing on being everywhere and doing everything, it's about choosing when and where to appear. It's about maintaining stability rather than chasing constant attention. For someone who spent years being one of the most visible figures in entertainment, that adjustment takes time. Public attention doesn't disappear easily, especially for someone with a long career. But learning how to live with it in a healthier way becomes important. At 57, that seems to be one of the main challenges he faces, continuing to work and live while managing the constant conversation around him. At 57, health becomes a bigger part of daily life for anyone. For someone like Will Smith, whose career has included action films, long shooting schedules, and global travel, staying physically and mentally balanced takes more effort than it used to. He has always been known for his fitness and energy, but time changes how the body responds to stress and work. In earlier years, he could film long hours, travel between countries, promote movies, and still keep up a demanding workout routine. Now, recovery takes longer. Muscles get sore more easily.
Sleep becomes more important.
Many actors in their 50s and 60s talk about this shift. It's not about losing strength completely, it's about learning how to manage energy in a smarter way. He has shared in interviews that he pays more attention to his health now. That includes exercise, diet, and rest. Instead of pushing his body the way he did when he was younger, he focuses more on consistency. Staying active matters, but so does avoiding injury. When filming action scenes, there is often more planning and more caution. Mental health is also part of the picture. Dealing with stress from work and public attention can affect sleep, mood, and motivation. Over the years, he has spoken about personal growth and learning how to manage stress better. That includes therapy, reflection, and spending time away from constant public pressure. Many people at this age begin to think more about long-term health. It's less about appearance and more about feeling stable and capable. For someone in the entertainment industry, there is still pressure to look good on screen, but the focus shifts towards sustainability. Being able to keep working and stay active becomes more important than trying to match the energy of younger years. Travel also affects health. Film promotions and events often require long flights and time away from home. That can disrupt routines and make it harder to maintain balance. As he gets older, it likely requires more planning to stay healthy while working. There is also the reality that public figures don't always share every detail of their health. Some struggles remain private. What's visible is that he continues to work and stay active, which suggests he is managing things carefully. Staying consistent, taking breaks when needed, and focusing on overall well-being seem to be part of his current approach. For many viewers, it's relatable. Aging is something everyone experiences. Energy levels change. Priorities shift. The difference is that for him, this process happens under public attention. Even small changes in appearance or energy can become topics of discussion online. At this stage, staying healthy is about balance. It's about maintaining strength without overdoing it. It's about managing stress and protecting mental well-being. From what can be seen publicly, he is trying to approach this phase with more awareness and patience. That doesn't mean everything is easy. Adjusting to physical changes and maintaining motivation takes effort. But continuing to work and show up suggests he is still committed to staying active and present in his career and personal life. Family has always been a central part of Will Smith's public image. Over the years, he often spoke about his marriage and his children in interviews. For a long time, he presented his family as close and supportive. But in recent years, more details about challenges within his personal life became public. Relationships are complicated for anyone. When those relationships are discussed openly in interviews and online, the pressure increases. Some personal conversations that might normally stay private ended up becoming public discussions. that can make it harder to work through issues quietly. At 57, maintaining family stability seems to be a priority. Even when facing public attention, he continues to support his children and stay connected with them. Parenting adult children comes with its own challenges. They have their own careers and lives, and maintaining strong relationships requires communication and understanding. Marriage is another area that has required patience. Long-term relationships go through changes over time. Add public attention to that, and the process becomes even more complicated. When private matters become public, it can create stress not just for the couple, but for the entire family. Despite the attention, he and his family appear to continue working through things in their own way. That often means focusing on communication and respect rather than trying to meet public expectations. Families evolve over time, and maintaining connection requires effort from everyone involved. At this stage of life, many people focus more on maintaining peace and stability at home. Work is important, but family relationships often become the foundation that keeps everything steady. For him, that likely means spending time with loved ones and staying involved in their lives. The challenge is doing all of this while living under public attention. Even simple family moments can become news. That can make it harder to relax and enjoy private time. Learning how to protect personal space while staying visible in the industry is a constant balance. From the outside, it seems he is trying to focus on keeping family relationships steady while continuing his career. That doesn't mean everything is perfect, but it shows an effort to maintain connection and support. For many viewers, this part of his life feels relatable. Family struggles happen to everyone. The difference is that most people don't have those struggles discussed publicly. At 57, maintaining family bonds and finding stability at home appears to be one of the most important parts of his life. There was a time when every new Will Smith movie felt like a guaranteed success. Studios invested heavily in his projects, and audiences showed up. But in recent years, the pace of his career has changed. That doesn't mean he stopped working, it means the momentum shifted. After certain public moments affected his image, some projects were delayed or reconsidered. That's common in the entertainment industry. Studios pay attention to public perception, and when attention around an actor changes, it can affect how quickly projects move forward. He has continued to work, but the approach appears more careful now. Instead of taking on many projects at once, he seems to be focusing on fewer, more stable opportunities. That can be a smart move at this stage. Choosing the right projects matters more than staying constantly busy. At 57, many actors transition into different types of roles. Action-heavy parts may become less frequent. More character-driven roles often take their place. This allows them to stay active in the industry while adjusting to physical changes and audience expectations. There is also the reality of rebuilding public trust. Consistent work and steady behavior over time can help restore confidence among studios and audiences. It's not something that happens quickly. It requires patience and a willingness to keep showing up. Financially, he is still secure from decades of success. But even for someone with long-term stability, staying active in the industry provides purpose and routine. Work offers structure. It also keeps him connected to audiences and colleagues. The film industry itself has changed. Streaming platforms, changing audience habits, and new actors entering the scene have shifted the environment. For someone who built a career during a different era, adapting to these changes takes time. He still attends events and works on projects, showing that he hasn't stepped away completely. But the focus now seems to be on steady progress rather than constant attention. At this stage, maintaining relevance while protecting personal well-being is the main goal. One of the challenges of being a public figure is that people remember everything. Moments from years ago can still shape how someone is seen today. For Will Smith, public memory plays a big role in how audiences view him now. Some fans continue to support him and appreciate his past work. Others feel differently based on more recent events. Reactions vary widely. That's normal when someone has been in the spotlight for so long. Different generations of viewers remember different parts of his career. Living with that mix of opinions requires patience. It's not possible to change everyone's view. Instead, the focus often shifts to consistent behavior over time. Showing up for work, staying professional, and maintaining a steady presence can gradually reshape public perception. He seems to be taking a quieter approach now. Fewer major interviews, fewer constant appearances, and more focus on work itself. That kind of approach allows time for things to settle. It also reduces the chance of becoming the center of unnecessary attention. Public memory can be long, but it can also evolve. Over time, consistent effort and stability often influence how someone is viewed. At 57, He appears to be focused on maintaining the consistency rather than trying to change opinions quickly. This phase requires resilience. It means continuing forward even when public conversations aren't always positive. It means accepting that some people will always have strong opinions, while others remain supportive. For someone who spent decades being widely admired, adjusting to a more mixed public reaction can feel difficult. But continuing to work and stay present shows a willingness to keep moving forward. Away from film sets and events, daily life likely looks more routine than many people imagine. Like anyone in their late 50s, maintaining a schedule that supports health and stability becomes important. That can include exercise, time with family, and moments away from public attention. Routine helps create balance. For someone who has traveled constantly for work, having a steady home life can be grounding. Simple activities, spending time at home, reading, exercising, or meeting with friends, can help maintain stability. At this stage, priorities often shift. Instead of constant travel and promotion, there may be more focus on personal time. That doesn't mean stepping away from work completely. It just means being more selective about commitments. Maintaining friendships and connections within the industry is also important. Long-term relationships with colleagues can provide support and perspective. After decades in entertainment, those connections often feel like an extended family. Daily life also includes preparing for future projects. Reading scripts, attending meetings, and planning upcoming work are part of staying active. Even when not filming, there is still preparation happening behind the scenes. Balancing work and personal life becomes more important with age. Protecting time for rest and family helps maintain long-term stability. From what can be seen publicly, he seems to be focusing more on that balance now. After a long career, financial stability is less of a concern than it might be for others. Years of successful films and projects provide a strong foundation. But maintaining that stability still requires planning and responsibility. Even with significant earnings, expenses and commitments continue. Supporting family, maintaining homes, and managing long-term investments all require attention. Staying active in work also helps maintain financial stability and personal purpose. At 57, financial decisions often focus on long-term planning. That includes ensuring security for family and future years. Many actors at this stage think about how much they want to work and what kind of projects they want to take on. He appears to be choosing projects carefully rather than working constantly. That kind of approach helps maintain balance while still staying active in the industry. Despite everything, many fans continue to support him. Longtime viewers remember the films and shows that shaped their childhoods and early years. That connection doesn't disappear easily. Fan support often shows up through social media messages, attendance at events, and continued interest in his projects. Even when public opinion becomes mixed, a core group of supporters remains. That support can make a difference. Knowing that people still care about his work and well-being can provide motivation to keep going. It also reminds him of the positive impact his career has had over the years. At this stage, maintaining that connection with fans is important. It helps keep his career active and provides a sense of continuity with the past. At 57, Will Smith's life is in a different phase than it was years ago. There have been challenges, changes, and adjustments. But there is also continued effort to stay active, maintain relationships, and move forward. He still works, still appears in public, and still tries to keep a steady routine. The pace may be different, and the attention may feel heavier, but he hasn't stepped away completely. This stage is about balance, health, family, and work. It's about learning from past experiences and focusing on stability. Like many people in their late 50s, he seems to be figuring out how to maintain purpose while adjusting to change. Life doesn't stay the same forever. Careers evolve, priorities shift, and public perception changes. What matters now is how he continues forward, steady, focused, and aware of where he is in life. For longtime fans, watching this phase can feel different from the past. But it also shows the reality of a long career and a life lived mostly in public view. He is still here, still working, and still trying to maintain balance as he moves through this stage of his life.